everybody. Welcome to another week of Reality Riffs podcast. I'm Jessie, and alongside me is my sexy, unique husband, Phil.
Hey, how's it going?
How was your week?
Oh, it was pretty good. Same old, same old. Hanging out, teenagers, talking Frankenstein. Um, had some good conversations, and then I got to thinking about Frankenstein and Tom Sandoval. And Victor Frankenstein and Tom Sandoval are pretty much the same guy.
How so?
Well, just like Victor Frankenstein, Tom Sandoval is looking up at this monster that he's created that he can't destroy, and he's terrified of it. And all he has to do is reach his arms out and say, "I love you,"
Or I'm sorry.
or "I'm sorry." Well, Victor had to do that. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read Frankenstein. Does
No,
Victor
Victor,
have a Schwartz?
no, Victor was kind of, hanging out by himself. That was his problem.
Have you made this comparison to your students?
No,
Would
because
they know
I don't.
Vanderpump?
I don't know, and that's definitely that's one of those wormholes that could open up and ruin a whole day of my lesson. So,
Oh, yes. Gotcha.
if one student could sit there and start talking about it, then the whole class would be digging off on their phones.
Yeah. So, well, it's winter in Montana, so I've been up to nothing.
Yeah,
It's just cold.
it is cold.
So, watching. Oh, I did stumble across a new show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's called, Couple to Thruple. It's on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And they take these two existing couples, and then they're on this island of a bunch of singles who want to be part
Like how
of
many couples?
Four individual couples, and then they each choose, well, they have like a mixer, and they get to know these people. Then they choose someone at the end of the night. The first night they're spending their night together, and it's not like Sister Wives where they're like having, it's just a threesome, or well, I guess Sister Wives wasn't a threesome, but in my mind a throuple is, oh, let's choose somebody for a threesome. No, they're like a serious relationship. They're actually looking, I don't know if this is a way to go about it, but they dropped the next 3, and so I've seen 6.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And oh my God, it's kind of
Pretty scandalous.
Well, no, not, I don't know if it's scandalous. It was pretty interesting, and now it's getting kind of boring, I guess, because it isn't changing at all. I don't know. I think they need to, yeah, I know, boring. Phil's giving me a look like boring, but oh, and Love is Blind dropped on February 14th as well. So I was just in reality show love.
Well, it is the season, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you get something nice for Valentine's Day?
I got beautiful flowers from my ride or die.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Flowers from the moon and back. To
Hey,
the moon and back.
Hey, okay, I will quit with the ride or die if you quit with the moon or back shit.
Okay.
Okay, let's dive right in, shall we?
Yeah, let's get in.
It's season 11, episode 3. You're not the queen of the group. Okay, so the descriptor is Schwartz hatches a scheme to bring the gang back together. Ariana sets firm boundaries with everyone regarding her ex-boyfriend. Katie and Sheena make a promise to prioritize their friendship. And a shocking admission shakes Lisa Vanderpump to the core. We'll get into all that and more
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, and so
Start with emo night, don't we?
no, we start out with um, we're still at because it was a
Mm-hmm.
continuation, and so we're still at Sandoval's
Oh,
party.
that's
James
right.
had just stormed out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So Sandoval brings Schwartz into his bedroom to have a little powwow about it, and Tom basically, well, Tom Sandoval sits, or
He sits
or
there and starts whining, and he's like,
he's pissed because,
yeah,
and he brings up
yeah, he's mad
the
because,
Kristen
oh,
thing
yeah, he's
from
mad.
10
He should have
years.
never brought up the Kristen thing. It
No,
was just kind of like, he said it was the ultimate betrayal. Like, what was I supposed to, or what did he say? I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but.
yeah, well, he wants an apology. He's like, he brought up the Kristen thing, and Schwartz like, oh no, and Tom Sandoval was like, I don't know what he wants me to say, and Tom Schwartz like, say you're sorry. I mean, I think Tom Schwartz and I we said that together, like as Schwartz said it, I say you're
Mm,
sorry, like. Ugh, but no, and
yeah.
the only reason I'm saying it isn't a big deal is because they moved on, and so it's his only leg to stand on, like, and it's not even a good one. And so anyway,
Yeah, he's just grasping for anything at this point. It's really pathetic. Like,
yeah,
um, I think one of the things, and I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I guess I'm going to jump towards the end, right? And I think it's just, I mean, because I think this whole this whole episode kind of, for me, that's kind of where the focus was at, was kind of like, I'm in it for the scandal, right? Like, I want to see how this thing gets resolved because I don't have all that history. So,
and I'm wishing it was already resolved.
well, and me, and I kind of, at this point, I kind of do too, right? I'm just kind of like, okay, they're not. I mean, we're getting 3 episodes in, and it's not. It's just going to be people sitting there going, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like,
maybe.
okay, then I could probably find something better to do. You know what I mean? Like, but anyways, my point being is that, and this is just that one thing, is because she had said that everything you're doing right now is a definition of a narcissist, and he was like, no, it's not, look it
Oh,
up.
that's
and she
right.
and she was like, a narcissist would never admit to being a narcissist, right? But like, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, all right, well, I'm gonna look it up then. And I did look it up, but I forgot my notes. So, but basically, yeah, everything that he's doing fits the definition of a
That's
narcissist,
what I
right?
say. I am not a psychiatrist, but if I had a list of narcissistic personality traits, I think this season at least, he would check off. Which I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but what is weird is I didn't know that a narcissist would be able to hide it that long. Because anyone that I've been around that has tendencies that are obvious tendencies where everyone's saying it, they show it much sooner than 10 or 12 years.
Well,
And, you know,
well, maybe not, because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you could look at, um,
yeah.
you can kind of look at sort of who I think narcissists. I mean, he's very socially aware, right? Like, and not just socially aware as in like he's a social justice kind of guy, but like he's aware of where he's at, the culture that's surrounding him,
I'm
how
super
to.
socially intuitive.
No, I'm not talking about socially intuitive, right? But when you're doing those things, when you're standing up for, say, trans people, and you're saying the right things, and you're
He's
doing the right things.
manipulative.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's where his awareness
Well,
is
that's what I,
useful to
yeah.
him.
But I mean, but at the same time, it's the opposite of, say, someone like, well, I guess,
Gandhi.
well, no, not Gandhi. I was kind of thinking of the opposite. Someone like, well, like someone like Trump, right? Who is a narcissist in New York City, who's come up in this kind of gangster culture, right? So his way of acting narcissistic
And
and
they're
gaining social capital is by being this tough guy gangster dude. And Tom's come up narcissistic tendencies in this very socially aware, culturally woke kind of environment. So it's like, okay, that's what I got to do to make sure that I'm, because that's a tendency of narcissistic personalities, feeling superior, and
yeah, and there are
and
different types of
right.
narcissists. I think, from what I was reading, I would. It's almost like he was a covert narcissist. I can't remember them all. I'll have to write them down for the next time, and we'll diagnose. No,
Mm-hmm.
we won't. We won't.
But you know what I'm saying. But it's also easy to sell yourself as the good guy when you're manipulating people with that kind of stuff.
Right.
Right, like it's really easy to get like, yes, I'm
Well,
out there fighting the good fight. But I'm
not
saying
only
no,
that,
but
but we
some
don't have
yeah,
Jax, who
yeah,
was
yeah. But I mean, but
putting
somebody
his
like
stuff out there, his
yeah.
bad behavior.
I'm just saying you put somebody like that for whatever reason, you drop him in the middle of eastern Montana, and he's going to become the kind of person he needs to be to get influence and popularity around here, right? Which would be the exact opposite of somebody from California.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so it's basically the same shit, different day. Well, no, same night. It was okay. But so then we go back to emo night, where James is walking in and everyone kind of rushes him. He looks all flustered. I just came from
Mm-hmm.
this fucking house. Whose fucking house? And then Ariana's like, "You mean my fucking house?" Oh,
Yeah.
that was great. And then he's like, he brought up the Kristen thing, and they couldn't believe it. And of course, cut to Sheena
Mm-hmm.
in the confessional making it about herself.
Yeah.
She's pissed because she's still not unblocked, and
Well, I
James
mean,
is. And,
well, I
but
mean, she makes a fair argument, right?
she
The
does.
fact that, um, like, yeah, there's no reason to think that James and Tom would ever be friends again.
That's true.
After watching the finale last year, like, why the fuck would you think that they would ever even want to look each other in the eye again?
Oh my god. No, way worse happened. He caught James fucking his girlfriend on his bed with his condoms and then gave him a shirt to wipe his dick off.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Do we need to talk about this 10 years ago bullshit? No,
Well, and maybe that's probably part of it. Maybe, and that's part of it too, right? Like Tom maybe never really ever got over that.
Oh, what gives you the first clue? The fact that he brings it up every 5 minutes? No, I'm just kidding. He's bringing it up because
Well, no, but
that's a get out of.
you're the one that told me that that's supposed to have been
It should.
water under the bridge, and
Yeah.
I'm just saying apparently not.
No, enough. Good
Yeah.
point. No, but
So don't get it twisted. I'm the apparently not side. You're the other side.
yeah, but both Sheena and James would be the two that they would be the first ones that if I were Sandoval would go to, because I don't know, Sheena always takes people back and James just wants to be part of the group, and he really does. I think he really does want to be bros with Sandoval. I do. But I guess you make a good point. But yeah, I'm just so used to getting mad at Sheena in the moment. So anyway, can you please tell me? Oh no, first Ariana. I almost forgot because she said that it's scary because he literally doesn't have anyone in his life right now making him take accountability or telling him what's wrong. And then you cut back to the party where everyone who's left there is
Is
like,
telling him why he's right.
yeah, it was
It would,
weird.
yeah, it's like a
Please tell me if that ever happens to me. Like, if,
well, it's not that they did, yeah, because they just cut back, just like, yeah, everybody that there is paid to be there, right? And it's just like,
yeah, or like maybe wants to be on camera. But
well,
basically,
and that's part of it too. I don't think you can discount that.
I don't know, but they're all, and I
But hey,
get wanting to
so
like,
Billy Lee at least was like, this has got to be about your healing now.
oh
You're
my
we're gonna get into
god.
your healing now, Tom.
Oh.
I hope that I hope that those two do hook up though. I think that would be good for.
I think they already have,
Mm.
in my honest opinion. Okay, can you, the more we go and see these Vanderpump Rules people at emo night, the more confused I am about what emo music is. Can you? I thought I knew. Please tell me. What
Okay, so I've
you
thought
define it
I
for?
did. Well, I did. I thought a little bit about that, and so I think part of the problem
Because
is
when Lala said, "Is it Nickelback?" I laughed out loud. That made me laugh.
no. I think that we are older than these people, and
Not that much.
not that well. 5 years makes a huge difference in
That's
the world of emo
true.
music. We grew up with Nine Inch Nails, Typo Negative. You know, our shoegazing kind of stuff was way different than what these kids grew up with. They grew up with
Apparently,
they grew up with dudes with lip rings and eyeliner. Well, I guess so did we.
I was gonna say, what are you
But
talking
I mean, I
about?
don't know any of those. I don't know the bands, but I think of stuff like, I mean, like, it's like 30 Seconds to Mars, kind of one of those things, or Fallout Boy, that kind of stuff. Like, that's emo to them. Even their emo is more pop.
Yeah, like when they said Fallout Boy, I thought, okay, I heard them on the radio. Like, weren't they poppy? That's all. And I remember,
Mm,
didn't they have, were they skater boys or like,
well, kind of, yeah.
because
Like,
like, I feel as though our generation's emo, the eyeliner that you speak of, it was, it didn't look intentional. And
yeah.
I feel like Fallout Boys was perfectly,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
it was to look pretty,
Well, I
not
mean, and I mean, to be fair,
emotional
Marilyn Manson's a different creature altogether than
altogether.
to like
Yeah.
Trent Reznor and, you know, those kind of guys.
Okay, so if you had to put together a
Stabbing Westward, who I think
playlist,
is very underrated.
well, if you were to put it together a playlist, like what would your top three? Okay, put
Well,
three playlist songs, emo.
my emo playlist songs.
Yeah, just three.
Okay, and you're gonna have to.
These are yours.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't listen to a lot of emo music. That wasn't
Neither
really
did I.
my
That's why I'm.
style. I think it's worth mentioning that we are in the queue for Pearl Jam tickets. So if y'all, you know, pray to a higher power, just throw that up there for us.
Ooh, yeah.
Um,
Or just
yeah.
any good vibes. Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, like I'm more coming from grunge and metal, right?
I
Like
know.
that's I'm not an emo kind of guy. So I guess I would say Trent. I guess Nine Inch Nails "Hurt" is kind of a, you know, I think
That would be my
an
number
anthem,
one.
right? And even he's come out and said like that's not even my song anymore. He's like that's
No.
Johnny Cash's song now. Like
Oh.
yeah. Um, so I would say yeah, and um, maybe like yeah. I guess I don't know. I don't know any emo. Tell me some emo.
I have no idea.
If I
See,
heard some, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, that song. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
hence why I had to ask
Tell
you.
you
I
tell you
think,
what. Leave it in the comments.
Yes.
Leave your emo playlist in the comments. Top 3.
Or join our Instagram.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So, anyways, their emo is different than our emo, and we don't understand it. We're old.
Yeah, and then they just okay, so they show Tom leaving for emo night. More flashbacks. Yeah, they had a lot of flashbacks in this episode. And then Sheena had a little more of her emo good as gold, and it just didn't hit right. And
it was. I mean, maybe it
I
was.
was super
maybe it,
underwhelmed, and I'm just thinking, man, I should really start taking my Lexapro again, because good as gold used to get me so pumped up. I think I just, yeah.
Well, maybe
I need a beta blocker, whatever they're called.
Well, you had to be there in the moment, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to recreate that kind of magic.
And not only that, I wish that we could hear what was being played, because I don't think what we were hearing is what was being played for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting some free music. I don't know if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they had a pre-recorded playlist.
And
James would not be caught dead pushing on
no way.
Go on a pre-recorded playlist.
Yeah, but Tom is leaving for and then they cut back to Sandoval's.
Is this when he's talking to Schwartz?
Yeah, no, Schwartz brings the cake before he leaves, and Tom. This is where he talks to Billy, who is obviously in love with him, or maybe not in love with him, but she's into him. She's like batting her eyes.
Well, and maybe that's just the thing. Like, he's just kind of strings her along, and she's just hoping.
Well, and he's feeling sorry for himself because Rachel didn't reach out to him on his birthday. And I did listen to her podcast. I think by this point in time, he was telling her she needed to leave that facility. And so she was talking, and she was smart enough to talk to her therapist about it, and they decided, let's block him. I think she's actually done some work. And he keeps crying about stuff. I think he needs to do something.
Yeah, you know what Raquel is at this point? Three episodes in. I mean, I know we haven't even made it. I think timeline-wise, it doesn't feel like we've made it very far. But who knows what the timeline is.
I know, and I have to remember that when talking about these people's emotions, because it is fresh to them. It's, 3 months at the most? But to us, it's been... And things have happened between in our real our real lives too. That makes all of this kind of seem like, oh God, that was forever and a day ago.
But I mean, at this point, it just feels like Tom is like that nerdy kid who's like, oh yeah, I got this girlfriend on the internet. She's from Canada. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, Tom, show us a picture,
Tom's girlfriend from Canada.
That's Raquel, Tom's girlfriend from Canada.
Until they start paying the girl, because she is, whether her face and body are on the screen, she is still a main character in this show. So until she's getting paid, let's refer to her as Tom's girlfriend from Canada. Let's give her, and she wants to be referred to as Rachel again. So let's give her that respect. I hate Tom so much. I am giving nothing but this Rachel girl respect. Like, she was in a mental prison.
Oh,
from this
I think
man
she's
with
playing.
this,
I think she's playing her cards exactly right. If Bravo wants to get
and
her
it
back in
pisses
front of a
him off.
yeah, and if Bravo wants to get her back in front of a camera, fucking pay.
Yes, pay
And
a lot, but I don't know after they did her so dirt. Well, I mean, she did
yeah, but
have a
it
she
would be a
had the
ratings explosion, right? Like that's the problem with Sandoval now is
I
that
don't know if she can trust herself not to like I would be so worried. What am I going to do wrong? Like I don't want another cuz I don't want my family getting death threats again, you know?
well,
But yeah, I think it'd be cool if she would do a sit down with Andy,
mhm.
you know, a one-on-one even.
Well, and maybe that's something that'll come later on. But yeah, I think actually keeping her distance from the actual Scandival while still keeping her name in the zeitgeist is probably a good move in the long term.
Yeah.
You know, like don't just be associated just with that thing, right?
But
But take advantage when it's there.
yeah, everyone else did.
Hmm.
But anyway, we then were at Tom and Ariana's, and poor Anne. Somebody start a GoFundMe for this woman. She's cleaning up after those pigs. Left that, ugh. And then Katie's like, hey, Anne, do you get paid extra for cleaning? And she said no.
Yeah, like why the hell would she do that? Well, I guess maybe she wants the camera time.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know. I guess I'm so, and maybe it's
I
just,
need to find out what her podcast is called because I want to hear it.
and maybe it's just I'm so cynical coming in watching this where I feel like to me, like I said, whatever magic was there that I think really made people fall in love with this show, I just don't see it.
Well,
And
they were young, they were broke, and they were friends. They were all in a friends groups, and they depended on each other and this show to survive. They were broke, and Bravo was. This is what I heard. Bravo didn't pay anybody for the first season. It was they
mm,
basically did the first season for free, and then the next was like 20. It wasn't enough to pay the bills without working for Lisa Stone,
mm,
and that was magical too. And yeah, the fact that they were already an established friend group, they had to do a little casting, like,
mm,
but they didn't have to say, okay, you're this archetype, you're that, you're gonna play this the villain, and you're gonna, this. I don't think they had to do that. They just put these young people with really reactive personalities, and they didn't have to do anything but supply a little bit of liquor,
right.
and they were going out and drinking on the weekends anyway. Like, I think Lisa probably had
Mm,
them cast a couple years in advance, because when Andy approached her, he wanted to do the series at her more upscale place, Villa Blanca.
mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh no, Sir is where the drama is. And so that's why the opening scene, I don't know, does it still say Villa Rosa's where you bring your wife? Sir is where you bring your mistress?
Well, I know that I saw that. I don't know if it was in a trailer
Oh no,
or
I
maybe
think
they did a cut back to it or something, like a flashback.
oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
But yeah, they did say it, which is kind of I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms
I don't
right
know
there.
that I would be bringing dates there
Well,
after she says that on.
well, I mean, she's obviously probably 10 years younger when she says that.
Lisa?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was 12 years, or
Yeah.
it was whenever.
It was a long time ago. But anyways, but just to hear her say that and knowing kind of what's happening on the show now and her sort of sympathizing with Scandival or Sandoval, and we'll talk about that later. We'll get to that later, but
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
no, but my point was, and that's what, and sorry, I don't mean to come all the way back around to my point, was that magic, I don't see it, and I'm so cynical that everybody that I see come in front of that camera, I feel like has an angle that it's all a business decision. Like everybody's positioning themselves for what comes next. And anybody who can kind of squeeze out any last.
well, I mean, it would be foolish not to.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not faulting anybody for it. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, but the thing that made it a compelling show, I think, is either that or the producers. Basically, I mean, maybe the producers need to do a better job, but.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Scandival, the whole hashtag Scandival, was compelling enough to make you watch it and talk about it for free. So, I mean,
Yeah, but I'm doing that too because I love you.
Thank you. I wish you'd done it 5 years. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's not get into that.
Yeah, well, no, and this is all going to be paid back in due course by, recapping Star Wars and, other such nonsense that you find abhorrent.
Uh-huh. Yep. But okay, so anyway, that was just to set the scene. And then in comes IV infusions, and I was thinking, if I could afford or get my hands on someone to bring IV infusions to the house, I would probably drink more often. If I woke up knowing that hangover wasn't going to be quite so bad or last so long.
I wonder what it takes to be able to do that, right? I mean, I imagine it's not cheap. Yeah, I imagine it's not cheap.
Oh no, I wouldn't think so. I've had IVs in hospitals that were quite expensive. I went to them. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have to be an RN, an LPN even?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, and this is,
or higher? I don't know.
All right, so when I was in the Army, got qualified in what's called, a combat lifesaver. So it's more than just basic first aid stuff, right? And I would be able to, basic first aid, there's certain things you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to apply a tourniquet. You're not, stuff like that. Whereas as a combat lifesaver, I would be able to do that. But I wasn't a medic. I wasn't medically trained.
So they sit down and Katie tells Ariana she's going to meet up with Sheena to try and reconcile. Again.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know that part of the story. What are they reconciling about? What's that?
Okay, well, last season, before we knew that Tom Sandoval, or before anyone knew that Tom Sandoval was sleeping with Rachel. Okay, let me start. Okay, Tom Schwartz and Katie had just gotten divorced, right? And so they made this promise to one another that if they were to remain friends, they weren't going to date inside their friend group.
Right.
And that was just Katie's, for her to feel comfortable being friends. Nobody in the friend group. You can date, just nobody we know or film with. And who does
and watch
Sheena...
the dog.
What's that?
And watch the dog.
Yeah, they have shared custody of it. But anyway, Sheena, for whatever reason, couldn't think of any other single friends to set Schwartz up with other than Rachel, and she knew where Katie stood. And as a woman who went through a divorce, I would think she would have a
Yeah.
little more compassion for Katie. And so I am on Katie's side 100% with this. Just like, if they have any kind
Hmm.
of girl code, but I don't think Sheena
Wait.
does.
So
But Sheena was always trying to set Schwartz and Rachel up right in front of Katie too. It wasn't like behind the scenes. The kiss that Tom and Rachel had in public in Mexico was facilitated by Sheena.
but and let me get this correct. If I'm not mistaken,
Oh
she
yeah.
was already fucking Sandoval.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh
so
yeah.
in some
Once
ways,
she did once.
so in some ways,
And they did the second time in Mexico. That's what
so in
Rachel
some
said.
ways that was kind of her cover, right?
Yeah, kind of. And I think it was the first time. She says she was single for the first time in a long time too. But
Right, because we got to
it was
assume.
his cover too, Tom Sandoval.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like Schwartz was running because Schwartz knew what was going on, so he was running interference.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a little incestuous circle they had.
Well, no, but it kind of makes you. I mean, unless you're gonna sit there and go, "Oh, poor puppy dog Schwartz doesn't know what's going on and what he's doing," then you have to sit there and go, "He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing," and that's why everybody's really pissed off at him.
I don't think he knew that they were gonna hook up again that night. That Sandoval and Rachel were.
I don't think that Sandoval kept any of this from Schwartz. He probably knew everything from the
No,
beginning.
but Rachel and Schwartz kissed in Mexico that first night,
Hmm.
and then I'm not sure which night it was, but Rachel and Sandoval hooked up for the second time. The first time was in
I
California.
know. All I'm saying is I expect that while this was going on, while this public kind of Schwartz and Rachel kind of thing was going on, he knew that behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, Schwartz did, but nobody else did.
So I mean, he kind of willfully ran interference for their affair.
When you put it that way, it does sound even worse.
Yeah, it sounds like fuck that guy.
It sounds like fuck that guy. I don't want to say that about. Quit laughing
I'm
at
sorry
me.
because I feel like I did this last week with you with Sandoval too, and now I'm just kind of like I'm holding up this beer, going, look at the, or holding it up saying, look at this fucking guy.
Oh boy.
I'm like Hamlet showing a picture of
No,
the real king to his mother.
I think it's just when I take the whole Schwartz of it, like when you just describe the actions of the person and I'm not picturing Tom Schwartz.
Right. To imagine somebody else doing
I'm like
it.
the Tom Schwartz apologist. He's the Tom Sandoval apologist, and I'm the Tom Schwartz. God.
Well, thank you. I feel like we've had a breakthrough.
We did. But yeah, I don't know. But
You could be a
anyway,
therapist.
but that's
Help recovering reality show addicts.
why Katie's upset with Sheena, and then oh no, yeah, and I don't
So
know.
now they're gonna reconcile.
Yeah.
Okay, well I hope that works out for them. Anyways, that scene was kind of a dud. Where do we go from there?
Okay, we go to an empty pump where Tom brings flowers to Lisa.
Oh yes, Lisa was very surprised to be sitting in this empty restaurant with a camera crew to see Tom Sandoval come walking in.
No, but I think she is sad that Pump is closing. I think it might have been her favorite. Nah.
No, I'm just thinking of the production aspect of the whole thing. Like she had this whole surprise thing going on. Like, but maybe they didn't tell her that it was Sandoval that was coming.
We have to pretend we don't know it's reality sometimes.
Yeah, but wrestling does a way better job of faking this shit than reality. Reality TV producers need to look at like the way that wrestling structures their reality TV.
Well, maybe wrestling needs to look at Scandival and think about how they structure their.
Oh no, I'm telling you, you've got to watch some wrestling because they've been throwing around like love affairs and love triangles and all kinds of shit for years.
Dude,
but anyways,
yeah. Anyway, I thought Lisa started the scene off a little more tough on Tom than she normally does. Yeah. Well, as they're talking about the house. And she was telling him, well, because she told him that.
Well, but I mean, let's go back a minute, because I mean, one of the things that I noticed in that scene is when she was talking to her husband, and
on the phone.
Yeah, and she was just like, "Oh, I don't know," and like he was just so casually be like, "Well, don't sell it then."
They've owned like 32. How many restaurants?
I mean, but I just couldn't imagine being.
Their house? Oh yeah, I know.
So fucking rich that you're just kind of like, yeah, well then just keep it. I guess if you don't want to give up, if you don't want to throw it, keep it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start from square one because did you see the place? It was pretty cleared out.
Well, I think they just had the chairs and stuff all piled up. They hadn't come and picked it up yet. They could have moved everything right back in. I mean, I'm sure the bar had been cleared out, but
it looked all dust. Well, I guess it wouldn't have. I guess maybe take a broom and mop and little elbow grease.
Yeah, but anyway, that was one of the things that kind of struck me. This being like, oh, okay. Oh, and what was the name of the place? Wolf.
Oh, that's
because they were talking about the Tahoe place too.
That's the Tahoe one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's how you. I think it's French or something. Yeah. We'll have to look into that, right?
Yeah.
But
well, they're gonna try to get everybody there, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways.
Yeah, and then they're talking about, and I was honestly surprised when she told Tom that they need to, or that maybe he should leave. Because, yeah, he broke the house. I get it. Mm-hmm. The more we talk about him breaking the house, he should leave the house. Yeah, because when Ariana went into buying that house, that was her forever home with her forever person. She didn't fuck that up.
Mm-hmm.
Why should she leave? And I really don't think there's a place that she could find that she could. I mean, the housing market has gone crazy since.
But didn't you say that she's actually like on Broadway right now, like in New York? Like, why even stick the fuck around in LA?
Well, I mean, that's her home. That's her home too. They customized a lot of stuff in that house. I mean, why should she have to? And this is 3 months fresh. Like, by now, as you and I are talking about it, maybe she is over it. Maybe she's like, yeah, dude, buy me out. I want out of here. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing a middleman. That's not what I'm into anymore.
But yeah, I think the whole situation, I feel like Lisa in that like that whole situation is just so fucking cringy. Like that's
it is.
It's just like it's gross. It's almost like I do feel like even if they want to fight over the house, he should still get the fuck out of it while they fight over it and let the lawyers hash shit out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And get a mediator, do whatever it is you have to do, but in the meantime, you go get yourself a nice fucking hotel room. You go fucking shack up with Schwartz.
Yeah, and I really it gets on my last nerve when people are like, well, Ariana's thriving. Why doesn't she just move? And not the way you said it, but they're like, oh,
Well, Lisa,
she's
what
doing,
Lisa say? She's living her best life.
yeah, she's living her best life. Why isn't she getting over?
It's like
Well,
she's
do you know that what Tom did to her could have put her in a spiral where she was living her worst life and she could have become suicidal? The
yeah,
crime is still the crime. And this is court of public opinion. If this was like an actual crime and he went to court, the crime, the the punishment wouldn't change because his victim's life didn't change
right.
for the worse. That shouldn't be a gauge on how fast
Yeah.
Ariana gets in or out of a new home or gets over the relationship.
Yeah, I know I ran that person over, but I just broke their leg. I didn't kill them.
Yeah. Oh, and they're a millionaire. Plus, they have insurance. Their insurance is gonna
But
pay
yeah,
for it.
I mean
You
the
know
fact,
that it's
yeah,
yeah.
the fact that Ariana is living her best life is testament to Ariana,
Yeah.
and has nothing to do with fucking Tom Sandoval and what he owes. You know,
For what he's owed.
yeah.
That's where I get it. It just grates on my nerves.
Well, and that's that narcissistic tendency, right? It's
yeah.
entitlement is a part of narcissism. Like that's one of the symptoms, or not the symptoms, one of the characteristics.
Right.
Is I deserve this because I'm fucking me.
Yeah.
You know.
And then he starts throwing another pity party first, and it is sad that Ollie is gone, but
was he on the show quite a bit?
No, I didn't know. I think he was one of his childhood best friends. So I mean, he was an actual friend. He wasn't a paid friend. And then everyone on the show did get to know him, but he's crying about how nobody reached out to me during that. Sheena did. This is where I'm going to stick up for Sheena. She did reach out to him. She didn't want anything bad to happen, but it wasn't good enough. And then, because this is where he said, yeah, because Lisa asked, well, didn't Sheena reach out to you, or can't you? And he's like, well, Sheena did send me a text, but it was on the same day that she started this rumor on her podcast about Billy Lee, and everyone's kicking me while I'm down. And I'm like, so what is it? Nobody reached out to you, or they just weren't kissing your ass? I never thought I was going to hate Tom Sandoval.
Well,
it's crazy what a year can do.
I guess on one hand, I wouldn't. I'm not mad at Sheena for talking about that shit on her podcast.
No, it was out there already.
Yeah, you're on a fucking reality show. You're cashing big fucking checks. You're living in a fucking mansion in LA. I ain't got no sympathy.
Her podcast is her job. He should know that now that he has one.
Like the reason why you are who you are is because of your fucking celebrity. So that's what you get to deal with. So yeah, but I think where I do on one hand kind of sympathize with the guys, like why even pretend to be friends? Like obviously she's willing to go on and do that. She's over it.
But see, Sheena will do this to people. So I mean,
well, yeah, and I mean,
she'll be everybody's friend, and when you're everybody's friend, you're kind of everybody's enemy, because I mean, she'll talk about people behind their back.
Well, and like I don't think she necessarily.
I mean, that's just human nature, kind of too. It's just she's on camera.
Yeah, but they're all implicated in the scandal one way or the other, right? They're allowed to talk about it,
Yeah, but
and they're all cashing in on it. And
in this,
Tom, but like I think to pretend that they're friends is just that's the big con, right? Like that's
well, and then there was another part where Lisa was giving more good advice where she asks him why he doesn't try truly saying I'm sorry,
mm-hmm.
and Tom says because they'll just come at me with you don't mean it. And he's like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. And I think you don't mean it. And maybe
well,
try. Maybe you're not damned if you do. And
well,
maybe
and
you gotta do it 150,000 times, but just at least he's
I
not even
well,
showing
well, that's the thing.
contrition.
And that's kind of like the big tell, right? Like there is no he does not give two fucking shits.
And it's hilarious because Lisa isn't backing down or giving him a hug or
Mm-hmm.
crying yet for him. And so he's accusing her of attacking him.
Well, yeah, because she's just trying to, yeah, she's just like being like, dude, like,
But
you know, you're kind of being the fucking asshole here. And this, I'll give Lisa credit because it seemed like when they first had their first sit down, like, was it at the restaurant, I think,
yeah,
at the beginning of the season, right? Where I kind of just felt like, well, and she still did a little bit of that here too, right? Like that whole well, she's living her best life. Like, why just move on? Right. And she was kind of, that was sort of the same vibe, I think, when they first talked. And I was just kind of like, you seem like a smart, intelligent person, but when it comes to Tom, it's like these blinders on. It's like what Tom did was really, really fucked up.
but
Almost
now,
well, I mean, unforgivable.
but as somebody who's watched him be a
Mm-hmm.
certain way for over a decade and now watching him, I understand it a little better because I didn't realize how manipulative he was. I just thought he was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what Lisa thought too. And so she's known him even longer and she has more stake in the game because, yeah, he does make money for her now. And she probably does think of him as family
Mm-hmm.
at this point a little bit.
But I think there was at this moment, like I think she wasn't kind of caving.
Kowtowing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was standing her ground, and I think
Yeah.
she was actually like really trying to like break through to him and be
I do too.
like, dude, if you want to salvage any of these relationships, you've got
And
to
right in the middle of it, he uses the word suicidal. And I audibly yelled, fuck
dude,
you.
I,
And for
I,
you, somebody who hasn't watched, her brother, the probably her person in this world other than Ken, committed suicide. And he, it, I don't, okay, time out, people. This is, can I just touch on this real quick? And then I don't really want to talk about it again because
yeah,
I myself have dealt on and on in my adult life with suicidal ideology. So I don't want to say he's full of shit. Because if something bad does happen to him, I would feel awful. But I do feel like he kept pulling into his pocket all these tactics that usually work to get Lisa to soften to him and take his side, and they weren't working. And then he said that, and it stopped Lisa mid sentence.
mm-hmm.
And with good reason, because if somebody says that to you, whether, yeah, like I said, whether you believe that they are or not, you cannot take the chance that they are serious. And that's why I am so pissed off, because by him bringing that up, you can't argue with him. I can't even do my podcaster's due diligence on how I feel about my true feelings
Well, hey,
about
honey,
him.
I think you
But
did. I think you just did a fantastic job, because I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
yeah, I don't.
Because I'll tell you,
I
you want to know
think
what I
that's
think?
all we can do.
Because I don't deal with any Christian guilt about any of this kind of stuff.
It isn't Christian
No,
guilt.
no. What I'm saying is,
It's like people deal with things differently just
if
because
if
he's showing
okay, no,
emotion differently
okay,
than you or
I'm
I.
about to be a big fucking prick.
Okay.
If something in the future happens to Tom Sandoval, I'm sorry, but in that moment, he was full of fucking shit. I don't
Well,
believe he feels enough emotions to even be tempted to suicide.
I think if he feels it, and he has been telling people, because it comes out later that he has, I guess, been low key telling people. I do, if he is serious, I do hope he seeks therapy and will keep it at that. But that's where it should remain, not on my Vanderpump Rules. Just like I don't really want to see the kids on there anymore. Summer Moon is adorable. I'll follow her on Instagram, but as far as on Vanderpump Rules, let's keep the kids. And
I don't know, man. Like,
I
if
mean,
we
if
could exploit our kids for money, I would totally do it. But our kids they're just too uncontrollable.
I know,
You know what I mean? Like, I
we
feel
need
like
to
if I
just
could get
start
them
them
to just
young.
do what the hell I tell them to do, then we could milk that cow and fucking own an island. Did you hear that kid out there fucking wailing on Taylor Swift?
Yeah. And then so Lala and Ariana are shopping and talking about sober James and going to see you next Tuesday. There wasn't a whole lot. And then we have Katie and Sheena finally sitting down and meeting, and we have the flashbacks from 2012, 2013, like pretty much every year.
The ultimate frenemies.
Yep. And they're getting along. I give it 3 episodes tops. Seriously. That's and then Sheena's saying all the right things to Katie, like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk to Sandoval again.
New
She's
year,
making
new me.
her declarations about, and again, I give it 3 episodes tops.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think that's ultimately what they're trying to set us up for here is Sheena. Which way is she gonna go?
And we all.
Well, from what I can gather is that she already flip flopped with Tom, right? Like that, or with Schwartz. Like she couldn't stay away from being friends with Schwartz, even though that was like part of the deal.
Well, no, she could be friends with Schwartz. Katie and Tom's thing was don't hook up, and she was trying to get a hookup. She was the one whose idea it was that Rachel and Tom Schwartz hook up. And so, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you. I probably.
Oh no, I probably totally misunderstood the situation.
And anyway, Schwartz and Lisa have a chat, and this is where it made more sense to me why Schwartz seems like healthier. His color's back. He seems more sober. He's able to like take a stand with Sandoval a little more. But I didn't. We were introduced to the brothers at his wedding, the triplets, and they're natural triplets too. I guess that's pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't know any of them had a drinking problem. That's so sad. I
Yeah.
hope.
Well, but then you see the way the Schwartz drinks, and then
Yeah. So, and we get to see the moms every once in a while, but yeah, as far as the guys are concerned, we hear about their families, but we
mm,
don't really see them. And you're not gonna hear the worst or, yeah, my family has, all, especially with
right.
Schwartz.
Well, especially something like that. I mean, that's probably something that you
Mhm.
don't want to like. That's cool, Tommy, that you're out there in Hollywood, fucking playing on TV, but you're not going to talk about our family shit on TV. Like that's, you
Yeah.
know,
And also, like, they start talking about Tom's mental health and his threats and
mm,
stuff like that. And I thought, just as Schwartz was starting to get a little bit further out, that gets pulled back in.
mm,
But at least I was happy to hear Lisa say that she can see Ariana's perspective. Like if Ken had cheated on her, she would be the
right.
same way. Like that, because I'd never heard her say that. So that
See,
made me
I mean, but
happy.
she says that, but then she goes back and like says something that completely undercuts that, right? So,
Well, I don't know if she would put up with Ken cheating or not.
well, no, it's not that. She says that she understands what Ariana's how Ariana would feel. Like she could see how Ariana feels that way, but then she turns around and says, "But she's living her best life. Why hasn't she moved on yet?"
Well,
Right?
yeah,
Like, so it's like, okay, yeah, like, gotcha. Like, pick a lane.
we'll
Which
see.
and I get it. It's got to be hard for people who are close to Tom. Like I said, it's easy for me walking in, with kind of no background knowledge and going, "Oh yeah, that's a piece of shit." That's easy. But yeah, I don't. I'm not. I guess unlearning, deprogramming, right?
Right.
Like I think there's a whole fandom of Vanderpump Rules people out there right now who are deprogramming.
And learning a whole new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we're taken to see you next Tuesday, where, okay, I have to ask if you've ever heard this term because Schwartz is apparently sober curious.
That can't be a
What?
fucking
What?
thing.
There's Lala's like sober curious, California sober. None of these things are a thing in my book, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's like
What
another.
it like?
That sounds like I had a
I
kid.
don't even know what he's trying to say though with
Okay,
sober curious. He's curious about being what it would be like to be sober. Like he hasn't made the
yeah,
leap to sobriety.
yeah. Is that a joke or is that? It's got to be a
It's a
joke.
joke. I don't think it's not a what
But
kind
then again, I had a kid today or not today, yesterday, telling me because this is my public speaking class, so we're doing debate right now, so we're talking about all kinds of crazy shit there. Honestly, like I hope nobody that I live around that have kids in my class listen to this podcast. Which why would they? But you know, we're talking about shit that I probably should have sent a letter home about. But they're bringing it up. I don't know how to stop
anyway.
it. Anyways, okay. But this freaking kid, man, is telling me that COVID vaccinations cause turbo cancer. And so I'm asking, what the fuck is turbo cancer? I didn't say fuck, but what is turbo cancer?
Fast acting.
Fast acting cancer.
Oh,
It's like
contact.
it's like the COVID vaccination is like steroids for cancer, and it's killing all these people.
Yeah, but people think it gives you what's that one thing that is hereditary in my family?
Diabetes.
No. Well, probably that
MS.
too. No, the forgetful thing.
Oh, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Oh shit, honey, that's not.
Not
I'm gonna fucking clip this for and send it to a physician. But anyways, or at least mark it. Like, what's the date today and what time is it? Okay. Anyways, move on.
what do you mean?
You just forgot what Alzheimer's was called, which
Well,
to
it's
me is like exactly what Alanis Morissette was trying to say, but just couldn't fucking figure it out.
Ironic?
Anyways, okay. I don't even know where we're at now. I forgot.
Who has Alzheimer's?
Okay. No,
Okay.
I'm high.
Well, so am I. So that's like, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Anywho, we're at See You Next Tuesday, and so Schwartz is sober curious, and I don't. Anyway, moving on. I just thought that was kind of funny, and I couldn't really understand what he was trying to say with it, but whatever. And so, DJ James Kennedy, joins them, right? Oh, Ariana and God damn it, where am I in my notes? Ariana and Katie join Schwartz. Oh yeah, this is where Schwartz invites everyone to Tahoe.
Oh yeah.
And he says
which
that
was the
he's
most
gonna be
awkward invitation I think I've ever seen anybody deliver.
If he wasn't going to be inviting Sandoval, it would have been a lot more excitement.
Well, he didn't. I don't think he thought about.
No, he was overthinking it. He was in his head. That's why he was like.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. He was overthinking it.
Like,
Maybe he got a little too curious about being sober and should have had
Yeah.
a few shots first. I don't know.
I'm just wondering, like, was it in a production meeting where they draw straws, where they're just kind of like, all right, who's going to be the one that's going to, because you know that it's already in the works. So like, we're going to be filming in
from Schwartz.
Yeah, but we're going to be filming in Tahoe, and goddamn it, we're going to get the whole fucking crew there.
Yeah, that's where I think the only way that works is if Ariana gets a hotel room, you think? Because they even brought that up. They're like, oh, come on, you live in the same house. And she's like, yeah, we have a mediator who literally facilitates every move.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine.
Well, see, and that I think kind of just goes to show you sort of the state of things too, because what's not said there is the fact that he didn't know that. And if he was really, if Sandoval was really confiding in him as a friend, like I assume that he had in the past, he would have known what their situation was. But then again, I think he kind of did. He did mention, he was like, oh yeah, it's really awkward what you got going over there. He just, I guess, how do you address something like that too? Like he knows walking over there what the fucking answer is going to be.
Well, yeah. But meanwhile, Tom Sandoval is walking into SUR for the first time with Kyle Chan. It's hilarious because this is the first year Kyle Chan has had a speaking part, really.
Mm-hmm. Is this pre or post Taiwan or Thailand scandal?
Oh, I'm not sure. Or pre. Because I think they probably went in the off.
So as they're sitting there at this table, they're probably planning their misadventure.
I don't know. No.
Could be.
It's probably not.
I just like to think
right now, I think
that's where the plan was hatched.
No, I think.
Hey, we should go to Thailand.
No. Now, Tom is probably too much in his head thinking about what he's going to say to everybody when he sees, he has to have a script. And that's when you see him spiraling, is when other people aren't improvising the way he planned in his head.
Well, yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, there's a big.
They are talking about, or what were you going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I'm saying Tom's problem is, it's simple. He won't stop trying to defend the indefensible. You know, until you do that, you're a fucking villain, dude. Like, you know, like until you stop being the villain, you're the villain. Like, sorry. Like,
Yeah. Or I just, that's where I don't know. Is he purposely being the villain? Because nobody is
no,
this not self-aware, are they?
he just doesn't understand why things can't go back to the way they were when he had sort of a superior position in the group. And if he can't have his superior position back in the group, then he doesn't want to be in it because he's a narcissist.
Yeah, but anyway, Kyle and Tom, I don't know, they just, they didn't even,
This
because they were gonna go and have like a chat with, or it sounded like they wanted to go have a chat with those people, but they didn't talk to anyone. They just went and sat in at this tiny little table by themselves. And then Jesse Montana comes in and he's like, "Yeah, sorry I had to unfollow you." I was laughing so. In a million years, I cannot imagine saying that to somebody because, like, social media presence to us is just not. I mean, that isn't a clout thing. We're not clout, it doesn't.
well,
And we are not. Um, we don't make money off of.
well,
I
yeah, but
don't
I mean,
know.
but here's the thing, like you
Nobody's
told
tracking our
you
followers.
no, but you told me that Instagram was a better place, and then I'm thinking, and it's not, and then so yeah, I hear about.
Me.
Well, no, well, yeah, well, I understand that now, right? Like because I didn't know what a fucking cesspool it could be.
Well,
Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
huh?
I choose to follow cute puppies,
No, but what
watercolor painting, and a few of my friends.
Okay, but I think the conversation went such as this guy's like, I had to unfollow you on Instagram, and my question is, why the fuck would you have to unfollow him on Instagram? And you said because people check your followers, and
if you're famous or if you're on a show.
Okay, well, okay. And if you're following the wrong people, even if they're apparently on the same show as you,
No, you have these people that are crazy. They will notice who's following who, and if somebody unfollows someone, and they'll have over 1 million followers, and I will think to myself, and these people also have 9 to 5 jobs. I don't have a 9 to 5 job, and I still think to myself, I don't got time for this shit. How do you do this? Like, how do you keep track of all this social media stuff? These people's extracurricular. Because before our podcast, and I set up an Instagram for Reality Riffs podcast, and I, for the first time, when followed Vanderpump Rules people. I didn't, because it's my guilty pleasure. I like to watch it, and obviously I'm going to hear the big major things that happen in the off season, but for the most part I just kind of want to watch it too. And so I don't want to follow their Instagram, and also I don't want to miss anything that I do want to see, like the friends I actually do follow. So yeah, but now but I've been in Facebook groups, which can get toxic, but they're also a wealth of knowledge. Really, like if I want to know anything, I'll go to one of those groups, and there are internet sleuths. My God, like, yeah, they're the heroes of the reality show. That's probably
that's why nothing disappears from the internet, man. Because even if you've tried,
the blind items come from, or fans.
even if they try to even if they try to delete their shit, somebody's already screenshotted that
Yeah.
before they had a chance to delete it. And once it's out there, poof, it's
That's what I
gone.
tell the kids. If you don't want it out there forever, don't put it out
Yeah.
there at all, because somebody else will take it and then you have no control over who sees it. Okay. So anyway, that happened, and then I don't really remember if Kyle Chan and Tom Sandoval, for now nothing really happens. And then oh yeah,
I
that's
think he
where,
whined a little bit. I want to say that he
well,
was
yeah.
whining a little bit. And I'm sure that Kyle sat there and was like, you're totally right, Tom. Like I'm almost guaranteed, whatever. I'll go back and rewatch that scene, but I'm pretty sure I summed it up. I'd bet money.
Yeah,
I'd bet
I'm
money on it.
sure. I probably heard it so much I was like, I'll skip writing it down this time. I'm
Yeah.
I'm getting a writer's cramp
Mm.
from Tom Sandoval's half-ass. And the thing is, it's not. I can't even give him credit for an apology tour, because the
He's not
only people he's
apologizing.
only apologizing to his yes men,
Mm.
the ones that keep crying with him and saying, "It's okay, Tom. You deserve to be forgiven. They should be
Well,
over it."
see, and that's why.
Those are the only people he's
See,
saying I'm sorry to,
and
because he
maybe,
gets the response he
and
wants.
see, and maybe that's why he's kind of pushed Sheena out, and that's why he reached out to James. He wanted to see if James would come back and kiss the ring.
And I can't, yeah, I was so proud of James too,
Mm.
actually. I really was.
James walked in there and was like, "Fuck you, dude."
Not because that was sober James. Well,
Mm.
California sober James.
Well, see, and that's the big problem. Now that everybody's fucking sober, they see Tom for who he is.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's terrible for the show, but man, it's great for these people's lives.
But anyway, Tom, okay, this is when Tom invites the whole group and specifies that, yeah, Sandoval is invited too. And Ariana says, I will never, ever be in the same room with that man. Don't expect me to, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. And then Tom got in her face.
Oh yeah.
Like, I never seen him get in Sandoval's face before. If he would. And Ariana, I mean, she might be throwing a little bit of weight around, but I mean, I think she's just setting down a boundary. But she wasn't wrong. She will, like when she said, "I'm done with you, Shorts. I've tried. There's not no getting through to you. If you haven't been gotten through to yet, you're never there. There's nothing that I can say ever." But like, and then he got up in her face, and I thought, run, Schwartz, run. But it was incredible to me the way that he, yeah, he can yell at a woman, but he can't yell
stand
at
up to
Sandoval.
Sandoval.
No, he just cannot, and it's weird.
Well, and that, I think that was one of the when I left my notes at school, when I made my notes on a narcissist, it was a chart. I had this thing all framed out in a doc, man.
They were super professional.
Tabs. It looked good, right? I had, anyways.
Mine are chicken scratch.
But that was what one was that under? Let me think for a second.
Look it up.
Wait.
That comes a little later. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh wait. What were we just talking about?
Your notes.
No, not my notes.
On a narcissist.
No, but what was he doing? Oh, Schwartz, and there was a
Ariana, when he was yelling at her, or he kind of yelled
no,
at
just
her.
the manipulative behavior, right?
Yeah.
And like you could see that sort of with Schwartz's defense of him, like yeah, it's so weird. It was almost like he was almost like having this moment. But I also think Schwartz, I think, is, since that first conversation with Sandoval, I think it's been very clear that Schwartz is very concerned about the business.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really thinking of, because Schwartz is no dummy, and he knows that the success of this business is tied in with the success of this show.
Well,
And
also, he lost his house, his marriage, his
yeah,
bank account.
it's the last thing he's got, right? And
yeah.
and Tom Sandoval's pissing it all away because he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go and be on reality fucking muscle man shows, and
did you notice
Tom will do the reality circuit. He'll end up on Celebrity Rehab or whatever.
when he was talking to Lisa, he's like, it's not like I'm living my fucking rock star dreams. I'm like, really? Didn't you just get off tour from Tom and the Most Extras, a rock and roll band? I don't know. Call me crazy. He's such a dipshit. Anyway, Sheena gets up. She's going to go to the bathroom, and she walks past Tom and Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like a little exchange, and she's like, I'm not doing this here. So one of them does it. It's like, let's take it outside,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And that's when they go out into the alley. And you missed out on the alley, because that's where, when the first few seasons, when they actually worked there, they would take their cigarette breaks to go fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would all like sneak a drink, and they would take a break, and then they would start yelling. Oh, that was my favorite place they filmed scenes. That's a lot of people's favorite place. And so it was kind of exciting. It's like they're coming full circle,
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation in the alley. And and before Tom even says anything, I'm like, why does Sheena look like a Matrix character? She looked like she should be an extra on the Matrix. And he's like, you look like.
Well, and that's where like I said, that's where I've seen production issues too. Because that's one of the things I noticed. She stands up and she's going to go to the bathroom, and I don't know if she actually does go home, but at the end of that scene, she's like, "Well, I got to get home to my daughter," and she walks down the alley.
Well, I think she was just mad. And
but of course, the whole thing was, I don't know, like it doesn't feel natural. You know what I mean? Like, anyways, but the point being is, yeah, she went out there for a confrontation.
But,
well, either that or that's like the poker face, right? Maybe not so much the Matrix. She looks like one of those dudes on USA or
Tom Sandoval thought she looked like
the World Series.
Twain.
No, in fact, I think she was going for the World Series of Poker kind of thing going on there.
Well, she said
poker face.
Early aughts. So, yeah. But then they were showing pictures of Tom Sandoval, doing his like shirtless and doing. Do you think that he's on steroids? Because he is really cut, and just like just genetic wise. Once you get into your 40s, I don't know, because
I don't know.
He wasn't that cut before. Well, he was always worked out, I guess. I don't know.
I'm guessing that what they were just doing was pretty physically grueling, though, too.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I came out of basic training. I was in pretty good shape.
With fewer calories, too. That will cut you fast. That cuts weight.
And if he's really, sober curious and not drinking, that I think helps.
That was Schwartz. That was sober curious. Oh, last year, because Katie told him that shots were his problem. And so last year, he started drinking just half shots, because he figured if he drank half shots, he could drink twice as many half shots, and they would still equal the same. It's like Jesse math.
Yeah.
That was me when I was drinking.
That's what Common Core math is teaching kids these days.
No, but I used to be able to, reconcile my. I would do shit like that. But anyway, that was just a note. I didn't know because I thought, gosh, he's
Doesn't
just
count in drinks alcoholic behavior.
probably, but I don't. I think I was sort like a binge drinker anyway, but I don't count other people's drinks. I used to count mine.
Yeah, I actually never. I mean, I'm pretty sure
I
I was.
don't care how much.
I'm pretty sure
I try to keep up with other people. I'm not really counting how many we've had. I lose track after two because by then I'm drunk. I'm a lightweight.
See, I don't feel like I'm an alcoholic. I don't have a problem, but I've definitely been in alcoholic phases of my life. Does that make sense? I'm not.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had the shakes when I would wake up at one point of my life.
Yeah, and so
that was scary. So I started cutting myself back by doing little shots in my soda every morning because I don't drink coffee. I drink Diet Pepsi. So I would put a shot of vodka in my bottle of Diet Pepsi because I didn't want to die of detox.
Yeah, and I've
seen people do that.
But I think I don't know, like.
We live in Montana. That happens.
But I was saying I never counted my drinks. So like that wasn't part of my alcoholic behavior.
But did you try keeping up with people though? Like if other people were running low, were you like, oh man, I better hurry up?
I think I was more of like a Bukowski type drinker. I just drank until I fucking ran out of money, and then that was pretty much how I kept score. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go pass out in my vehicle.
No, but one of my favorite parts in this scene was when Sheena was telling him he was acting like a narcissist, and he's like, I'm not a narcissist. And she tells him a narcissist is never gonna say they're a narcissist. Then out of thin air, he says, yeah, that's why Lala won't admit she is one. I'm like, bitch, we weren't even talking about Lala. Was Lala even in this conversation?
No, and that's him just trying to manipulate her, right? Be like, yeah, let's bond over shitting on Lala, right? Like,
and I think Lala in the past has said, I may have narcissistic tendencies, but I ain't no narcissist. I don't think Lala's a narcissist.
I don't.
Not like, I mean, but it doesn't matter. She wasn't even in their line of vision. She was inside.
He's just trying to, distract from what the real issue is, right? Which is they're not friends. Like I said before, they're not. And I think it may, at least not in this very moment. Like if you tell me Sheena's, a little bit more malleable in her opinions of people, then eventually maybe they'll become friends again. But at this point, they're not.
You know what I think it is with both James and Sheena? I think they are both coming to the same conclusion and at the same time, and that's their friendship, or Tom meant more to them than they meant to Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know that. And that hurts. That's happened to me before, and it's one of the biggest hurts in human life.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who it is, and it does. It's like, wow. Especially if you put a lot of time into that relationship, and there's just like,
I definitely feel like I'm the person that's, if there is a relationship, it's because I'm the one that's put the effort in.
Hey, we've both tracked each other. Like,
our story is a long, circuitous path.
Oh, so layered, huh?
But I'm talking about people that, maybe
yeah, just in your life.
And even family members too, right? Where I've had to sit there and go, oh, wow, like, I guess I didn't realize, that it was me,
Yeah, where I
making
feel
this
like
happen.
I've been fortunate enough to have both. Not, I mean, not like I want
Mm-hmm.
people running me down. I need to be, but yeah, I do have a few that I need to be better. I need to make more of an effort. Just, and as an adult, it's so different. As a
Mm-hmm.
kid, it's like you call your friend up. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, what time? I'll pick you up. You pick me up. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's I don't even know. Should I call my friend or will I be bothering them? It's a it's weird. I shouldn't have that feeling about my friend, but I do. I don't want to impose on
Yeah.
their
Well, it's so weird now because like
life.
these kids nowadays, they're connected to each other 24/7.
Yeah. We had to make plans on Monday for what we were going to do on Friday. And
I
just to
mean,
make sure they stayed set in stone. Because we didn't.
granted, I'd sit there and talk to you on the phone for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours every single night.
Long distance.
Mm, and but the kids these days.
Kids these days, they can Snapchat, they can FaceTime, they can see each other as they're talking.
Yeah, I don't think that's special. That's one thing that I can't get on board with is like this FaceTime sort of thing. Like
Oh no.
I am from a telephone generation.
Uh-huh.
Like I love the speakerphone. I think that's the greatest invention ever because I don't like to have to put that thing to my damn ear.
I know.
But I
I
don't
do
need to
like
see
speakerphone.
myself.
At all. At
And I
all.
don't think that you need to see me either.
I don't even know where to look. But anyway, what else after that's all I have written down. And so what else does Sheena say to Schwartz? I do think that give it or not Schwartz but Sandoval. I do think in about 2 to 3 episodes they'll be friends again.
All right. Well, maybe we should end with that. Let's make some predictions.
Some predictions. What would you like to make?
All right. Well, I guess there's two big kind of things set up right now. Because I mean, there's like we can pretty much rule out any possibility of any reconciliation between Sandoval and Ariana. Like I
Okay.
think it will
Yeah.
be a miracle if they actually do get in the same room this entire season. I mean, I think there's probably some sort of
Unless it's a
contractual,
crowded one.
yeah, there might be some sort of contractual obligation for them to have to be like in the same place at the same time.
Mm.
And that's why Sandoval sits in a fucking corner at a small table with, one person with one dude coming up to him and saying, yeah, I don't like your decisions. I'd fucking cut you out of my Insta.
I bet I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to find out in the back of his small little mind, he thought that he was going to get an apology from some of the people in that other room.
Oh, probably.
James. I bet he thought James was going to come out
be like,
with a change of heart.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Sorry I stormed out of your house, man. Because that was the James of the past. I'm glad if Tom Sandoval made a complete 180, I'm glad to see James is too. I hope he stays on this path.
Yeah, well,
I think Tom Sandoval is teaching people how to draw and keep healthy boundaries. Maybe myself included. I don't know. That remains to be seen. I'm still a Schwartz apologist, I guess.
I think the question's going to be, like I said, nobody's going to reconcile Sandoval. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think the question is Schwartz.
Nobody or just Ariana?
No, that's the question, I guess, because there's only, two people, I think, right? That's the question. It's going to be, is it going to be Sheena? And what's Schwartz going to do? Is Schwartz going to wake the fuck up? Like that's the storyline I see kind of being set up, right? Because they have, like I said, there's nothing to work with as far as Ariana.
That's why Sandoval. I wish I didn't know what's going on in real time, because I know that they are doing a podcast together, so I already know that Schwartz forgave him. Because if I didn't know that, I would still be wondering, because Schwartz does seem upset. He does seem And at this point I'd be asking myself, well, is he extending this invitation because Lisa kind of asked him to, and he too doesn't want to see Sandoval hurt himself. But I mean, now I know for sure.
Well, shit. Well, I guess that goes. Fuck the prediction.
But I don't know with
We'll play a
Sheena.
different game. Okay. Well,
I don't know with Sheena.
We'll see how things go with Sheena, and then I think the next. I think the next thing. I mean, unless
or Lala even.
Unless all of a sudden these people completely uproot and flip over their lives, I see this show's gonna be pretty much done this season. My question is so
they're having full circle moments.
Yeah. What's the spinoff? I think, you know what? Schwartz is, for being a prick, I will say this much for the guy.
Do you think he's a bad person at heart, though?
I think as sad as that it was when he was like their beautiful friendship, right? They have a beautiful friendship, he said, and I don't believe that, but I believe that he does, and I understand that, right? So. He's going to stick.
Why do you still take Jason's phone calls? Or we'll bleep.
Yeah, bros before hoes, right? But fine, if that's the way he wants to go, whatever. He's gonna wear that shit with Sandoval.
And the unspoken truth is Sandoval has dirt on Schwartz. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure he does.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, Schwartz is I mean, he didn't do the fucking, but he lit the smoke screen so the fucking could go on. But at the same time, do I think he's a bad person? Probably not. I feel like he's just too afraid to tell
He wouldn't kill your dog.
Yeah. Anyways, I would like to see if they want to keep this kind of show, they need kids again. And so they need maybe let Sandoval be the fucking the old barkeep at his bar, and he's the boss, and you get to watch.
That's what I thought was going to happen when I found out about Tom Tom. When Lisa's like, I would like to use your name and likeness for this bar. And so I thought during Tom Tom, and then it didn't happen. And then I thought it again at Schwartz and Sandy's. I thought, well, maybe, because I always thought, well, okay, she's going to pass the torch to the younger kids. And maybe that's why she doesn't want to have Sandoval tarnishing his reputation, because he can't be the man with wisdom to pass along if this is the way he conducts his life. I think Katie and Ariana could, but they both have such an icy demeanor and personality. They're not as easy to like. They're not goofy.
Mm-hmm.
When the Toms are goofy, and they can be lovable when the stakes are super low and they're just being silly. It's fun to watch them be buddies. It's kind of like Dumb and Dumber, but only real life bros. But
maybe that's going to be their angle, because pretty much they should just.
But Katie and Ariana are the.
Well, they should retreat.
Are the right people.
They can retreat to the manosphere and probably be all right. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't try to date my daughter, fuckhead.
They're a little old.
Well, anyways, but if anybody of those ilk come around, I'm gonna show them my shotguns. You know what I mean? Anyways.
Yeah.
What grade did you give the episode?
Oh, what grade do I give this one? I'm going to give this one a solid B. So what's that, 84, 85?
Mm,
Because quite a bit happened. I feel like we're gonna.
I think they're setting us up. They're setting.
Yeah.
I can agree with that score because I think they are setting up some drama. So let's see if we can actually squeeze some emotion out of these people.
I also saw sides of some people that I hadn't seen before, especially Lisa. Like that was her being tough on Sandoval,
Mm-hmm.
but I was, yeah. So I liked that. That was probably my, but I was also my least favorite part.
Oh yeah. Then there was that really cringy part where Sandoval fucking
Yeah,
yeah.
talks about mental health. But so yeah, that's a wrap.
I think that's good, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe.
Yes, and tell a friend.
Yeah, and if you got questions, if you think we we're just starting out, so if you got any thoughts about how we can improve this podcast, just drop them in the comments.